the time as 6:35, so I will call the work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, August 26, 2024 to order.
The first one.
We have a quorum, everyone is present. First, we will review the regular business meeting. We have the invocation. We have 12 Stone Pastor Jeff Ware is going to be. And then the pledge. Anyone want to do the pledge? Lorna? Okay. Lead us in that. We'll have the minutes. Invited guests. We have Bobby Howard's going to do a little presentation.
I did him.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
You get a chance to read it.
I've heard things.
Okay, under the public hearing, for
Okay.
RZ 20, oh, yeah, Gretchen, you need to read
Yes,
this.
that's what I was just gonna
Well-
say.
Yeah, the first one.
Even just for us to say we're going to table?
I think, because I was going to explain.
Okay, yeah, bye Gretchen.
Bye.
Don't go too far.
On this rezoning, apparently the applicant submitted a new site plan on late Friday afternoon. In Jason's review this morning, that would require, one, there wasn't any real direction from council to revise the site plan. But number two, it creates additional variances that would have to be put on to the application and to the conditions in order for it to go as they submitted that site plan. So we had a lot of conversation before in our pre-meeting about whether, the third thing is whether this opens up that we need to have another public hearing, because we already had the public hearing, if we're going to be talking about this revised site plan and not what we originally looked at, then we had the legal question of whether we have to open for a public hearing again. So the city attorney did talk with the applicant, and so there's been a request now just to postpone this until the September 9th meeting so that we can get these issues resolved before, so that we, one, know what we're talking about, and two, can figure out whether we have to have another public hearing.
So, postpone, just state that we need for a second reading, but not,
We said it.
That we,
But
okay.
it's set.
and
It's set
a public
for-
hearing as well. Okay, that was my
It's set
other
for a public
question,
hearing.
and public hearing. Second reading and public hearing, as opposed to just one.
Right, and that would be on September the 9th.
Got it.
No, yeah.
Oh, she ran away.
Okay. Okay, and then we have item B, the Church on Main apartments. Now that one, again, this is, we've got a rezoning, land use plan, and SUP, special use permit. So those would be three separate votes, starting with the land use plan. Then if that's approved, then we would go to the rezoning. And then if that's approved, then we go to the SUP.
Staying alphabetical.
Yeah, I just don't forget.
And I say that mainly because I always forget this.
Staying alphabetical.
So this is for my edification.
The conditions would go with the rezoning.
Right.
And if anybody checked their email today,
At 5 o'clock this afternoon.
at 5 o'clock this
thank
afternoon, right before I jumped in the shower, I sent out
I'm glad you did that.
additional, and they're numbered to fall in line with the conditions that are in our ordinance. So there were an additional 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be happy to run through them if anybody. didn't
Yeah,
get a
if you want to
chance
read through them real quick.
Okay. Additionally, number 9, applicant will submit an updated architectural design for approval by the Director of Planning and Development for final approval. The 4 main buildings to have variation in both architectural design and color. 10, there shall be a 6-foot opaque fence, style and material and design to be approved by Director of Planning and Development, in addition to the proposed plantings where development abuts parcels, and then there's a list of every residential parcel that abuts the development along with Pine Street, Pine Road, whichever it is. Fence may be inside the landscape strip wherever the buffer remains undisturbed and shall be installed at the elevation of the top of any retaining walls, if any. Buffers and fencing shall be installed at the earliest possible time of construction to preserve and enhance the privacy of the adjacent residences. And that is Pine Street, not Pine Road. And
What email is this?
it went out at 4:50.
Okay, yeah.
Just to qualify, Todd, these are your suggested.
These are my
additional
suggestions,
conditions
yeah.
If there is a vote
If there
to
is,
approve.
if folks are to approve.
And these would go with the rezoning.
These would go with the
Correct,
design. The design and integration of the covered micro-transit locations to be approved by the Director of Planning and Development. And number 12, the parcels and portions thereof not used in the construction of the design as proposed will be deed restricted to preserve the land in its natural state with the exception of a walking trail system. These are all things that came out of our meeting with Jason at Planning and Development, and which was 2 weeks ago tomorrow? Or Wednesday? No, yeah, tomorrow. So, other than the mayor, who wasn't able to attend those, y'all should be relatively familiar with that. But I just wanted to get them written so we weren't trying to do that on the fly, if it looks like we're approving.
And it's
Your
some of
first,
We can get it.
oh, these are in addition to the conditions
Correct.
already,
okay.
Right,
okay,
in the packet.
in the packet, correct. Okay.
And I bet we could get someone to print off copies of that if folks want a copy of it to review.
Are those not
Right, Jason?
listed?
What, the conditions?
The ones that I emailed out.
Of course.
They would not be in the draft
Yeah.
ordinance.
We'd have to
Okay.
have them in.
Right, or we read them in.
Okay.
They're not anything that came before planning commission or would be in the draft.
So the relocated compactor from the bottom of the site, case update, the microtransit stops.
No, that's the different one.
This is not what we were referring to.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that says ordinance 2024.
Yeah. From 450.
Yeah, sorry. I was working on all the other stuff that ended up getting
I was
tabled.
busy today.
LUP 24-01.
01.
Referencing ordinance 2024-11.
Correct.
Okay,
Or 1-3.
1-3.
1-3. Okay, where did 1-3 come from?
That's on the top paragraph.
It's what it was listed as on my computer. But Jason and I sure. Yeah, someone's making copies, so I'm gonna have a copy for their.
Okay, my concern about all of this is just our public have a copy.
No, but this is stuff
Yeah,
that's
this
gonna
is
be
proposed.
proposed from mayor and council, should it look like it's heading towards approval.
Okay. So I'm having difficulty finding it, and that just means so is our audience.
Well, I apologize for not working on that earlier, but got done when it got done. And that was it. That's all I had on that.
Oh, yeah, in the packet, it is for the Church on Main, it is 2024-11.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Right,
My apologies.
Oh, it's 11?
That's my point.
Thinking that.
Okay. Well,
okay.
if I were perfect, that'd be you.
Well, I just want to make sure that I know what I'm voting on.
You're perfect in my eyes.
And if I don't know what I'm voting on, I'm not going to vote.
I almost gagged it out.
A little too thick?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Wonder which one's 13.
I know, that's why I was looking at the others to see if they came up, but, okay, no worries.
All right,
Okay,
I'm going to need to be able to figure that out.
anything else on that one that needs to be discussed as far as format or anything on that?
Or any specific questions?
Maybe I'm in next week.
They said the conditions go with the rezoning.
Yes.
That's ordinance 2024-12.
Well, it would go with RZ 2401, right?
It's,
I was in the ordinance number as well.
it's the ordinance number 2024.
So it's 12?
No, it would be 11 if you're adding conditions to it,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
unless
on
you're
that
redoing the
one.
whole
There's-
ordinance.
Oh, geez.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
we can adopt the ordinance with the addition of these conditions, which will
Okay.
staff will add.
And I'm also, I'm
As long
sorry.
as they're read in.
Sorry to keep raising questions about this, but you have in this email 9, 10, 11, and 12,
Pardon?
conditions adding your proposal is 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Because in the ordinance, that's what they were. You can number them whatever you want.
Okay.
In
But if
the
you're-
ordinance, they were 1 through 8, right?
They were 1 through 8.
Staff made a recommendation of 8 conditions, so these are 4 additional conditions that Todd would like to see.
I got it.
These are not ratified by staff, these
Okay.
are just, Norman could ask for his own 9 through 12 if he wanted to. You can each ask for whatever you want, so Todd's just serving these up
That's
if for anyone that wants to
suggestions.
consider.
Okay, so where's 7 and 8 is my question.
It's in the ordinance.
Okay, so,
Christie, is the RZ ordinance number 2024-12.
Sorry, I attached it to the wrong ordinance.
And where's that ordinance?
Bill,
Okay,
okay,
so let's number 1
Don't we
through
have-
yeah, all right,
4.
so on the LUP 24-01,
Right,
the draft ordinance number is 2024-11.
right. Okay,
Then
that's what I have.
if we scroll through that one, and there are no conditions or variances tied to that. Then we have, then for the RZ 24-01, the ordinance number would be 2024-12.
Okay, so then the fact that this reads 11,
That what reads 11?
no, the LUP, I'm sorry.
The
The
LUP
LP,
is
okay, the
ordinance,
LUP is 12, 11.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
and the RZ is 12.
Okay,
And the RZ draft ordinance has 4 variances listed and 8 conditions listed.
okay.
So I was right other than the number at the top.
Yes.
Okay.
And
There's 1 through 8, okay, thank you.
and then the SUP, I'm gonna bet, is the 2024-13 that Todd had a copy.
SUP does not have conditions.
And that, so the SUP 24-01 is ordinance 2024-13. Correct, and it will not have any conditions.
Actually, there are 8 in,
Oh, there are.
yeah.
They're all
Just-
repeated.
It's just a repeated the other ones, okay. Just to clarify, thank you.
Clear as mud on that?
Yeah. Just want to make sure I.
Y'all buckle in.
I'm putting things where they should be.
Okay. Then we have item C is the second reading, CIC, which is changing conditions 24-01. And this is on the Summit Chase property. There are two. The changing conditions is the same on both. And Jason, you want to talk about those?
Just very simply,
Mhm.
yeah, so basically they're asking for a change of condition, the same request for the two separate properties that were zoned at different times. As you remember, the original 247 lots, the main was zoned first, and there were some title issues that held up the tennis court. So it's basically the same application for the two different pieces of property. And what it does is, there's a condition inside of both that limit or restrict building materials to a certain type, and it was really pointed. And once we got into the design phase, they were limited in what they could do with elevations and different designs because the condition just didn't apply well a couple years when they were ready to go. So they submitted, and you have in your packet too, that giant plan book. That's basically every plan that can be built from each home. I think they have 15 different home types, and then variations from brick percentages. Basically, you just pick your finishes, but there is a minimum standard that was upheld that is consistent with the condition that was passed at the time. Just allows them more flexibility to change the fronts. I think we gave them like 3 building materials, 2 of which aren't really used anymore. So we've been out there, you've kind of seen what it looks like. That's what it's going to continue to look like as it gets built. And we have basically the Bible for development. It's right there. They can only do what's in it. We've looked it over. It looks good. Secondly, there was, at the time, there was concern about maintenance of the property. So at the time, we instituted a condition that the HOA would be responsible basically for the home's exterior treatments, paint, any kind of improvements due to fading over time. And what they came back and said, which we kind of knew at the time could be an issue, but in order to make sure that we got, the correct maintenance level. Anyways, regardless, it would have added like $2,000, $3,000 of HOA fees a year because they have to collect the paint money and the labor on the front end, and then they would be responsible. That's pretty much unprecedented in the state of Georgia about how to handle it. So what they're asking now is that they still be responsible, HOA inspection every 3 to 5 years, and then the enforcement arm will be the HOA, but it will still be the individual property owner's responsibility to make the actual improvements, which is a lot more enforceable and a lot easier. And if you've been out there, I really don't think we're going to have to worry about painting looking bad. I mean, they're going to end up being some close to $1 million by the end of it. So I feel good about that too. It's no different than what we have set up everywhere else, and we're able to do pretty well where we have HOAs, and then just rely on our code enforcement to implement the codes we have now in place. So I recommend approval. That's the only 2 changes, but
I have a question,
applies to
Jason.
both properties. Yes, ma'am.
What about people that have already purchased homes there that are have the understanding that
I don't think it was.
they won't be responsible for
I'll
the-
check up on that, but I don't think anybody's under the premise that, I think the whole thing was that if there's a change, they'll have to change the HOA documents, but there's only like 3 or 4 owners that have moved in now.
But I just
So
wondered how they'd be affected.
I'll make sure they're not negatively affected. If I'll check and see what they agreed to, but if they change the HOA documents, then, they would be privy to that too. So I'll make sure that it's not.
They would not be subject to, if they've already purchased their property and they own their land, they're only subject to what they were agreeing to at that time. So
Okay,
if
I'll
the
check.
HOA documents change, those new parcels will be subject to those documents, but they will be
That's what I thought.
grandfathered in,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term. They will not be subject to those additional changes.
But
Well,
you
yeah,
said-
shows-
Unless they agree to opt in, absolutely.
Right, which-
If they agree to opt in,
Sure. I'll make sure, when it all gets worked out, I'll follow up with that. But we can ask him tonight, honestly, John will know, thanks for asking.
And on that one, I also, earlier in the day,
That one I did get.
I emailed out a condition that was a result of a gentleman, his wife, and son that showed up at our last meeting that had issues. They lived directly behind the development, and they were having a number of issues. They talked to Chuck about it. I spoke to the wife, said, email me what the issues are, gave her my card. Never heard anything back, but from the discussion, it was the impact of the development adjacent to their property. So I would ask that we have a condition added to either one. It could be either one, right? Or do we have to add it to both? Okay, add it to
Add it
both.
to both.
Um,
Okay.
That says, and again, this is just a proposal, the applicant will install a 6-foot opaque fence, design and material to be approved by the Director of Planning and Development to run along the property line from lot 271 to lot 157 on the drawing dated 3/1/2019 Soleil Summit Chase site plan uploaded to the city's webpage and dated 6/13/2024. So that would put a fence along that property line. When we originally did this zoning, Councilman Emmanuel wanted that put in place, but his property was directly adjacent, and I didn't think it was appropriate to support that at the time. Well, it came back to potentially be a problem, and would like to include that now that he doesn't live there anymore and isn't on the council. Don't tell him.
Okay. Chuck, neither of these ordinances, the CICs, as they appear, have conditions sections. So do we make this change if we should add it under section 1 in the ordinance where the other condition modifications are listed? Do you see what I'm talking about?
okay, because you're adding a condition.
Because you're adding
Yeah, we're
a
changing, yeah. you
So
added
make
the-
it under the section
Yeah, you
1.
can do it there. That's
Okay.
fine. And I'm just, Jason,
So that would be
those
a
parcels
letter
with the
C.
fence, are they only gonna be on one of these? Because I'm thinking now they're.
Yeah, it
only
wouldn't be on the
one.
tennis property because they have
Yeah.
a pretty natural, and now if you wanted to put on the tennis court property, you could.
Well, it's,
For the
the way
future.
I wrote it is I just
You
looked at
want
their
it
site plan.
down.
Yeah,
So just the
if
first
you
one.
want to take those off.
It's just gonna be, Todd's conditions,
The
it will
09.
only be for the first one.
The 09 is the tennis.
257, yeah.
Well, then-
257
That is the
lots.
tennis one though, right?
No.
No, so
No,
it is
the
the
big
big
one.
one.
That's the second,
That's the second
257 is
It's the big one,
Yeah.
the big one. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so just do it on the second one,
Well, I'll get different lot numbers.
which is gonna be
See, 2402?
2410, which again is gonna go under section 1, and then would be item C. Is that correct? And that additional condition,
Yeah, that's fine.
is that right? Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? With the ordinance, because it's not gonna list conditions in that ordinance. So,
And
just
that,
a additional, it would be page 3 of 9 on that handout. CIC 2402,
Jason, can you come here a second? Look at this so we can,
ordinance 202410.
so I had it going from here.
Just keep it, that'll be both then, you want to add it to both.
Well, I don't want to have to cut down brush or a buffer that's actually intact.
Really, this
So-
isn't bad either. I mean, you would start at 241.
Okay, so change
Because this is,
150, or change 271 to 241, please, lot number.
241, 241
Yeah,
through.
271 becomes 241 and through lot 157.
157. And this is going CIC 02.
Yes.
What were those lot numbers now?
Um,
241 to
To 157.
to 157.
Awesome. Keep them protected.
Are we good?
Clear as mud.
All right, so nothing under consent or old business. So the last item that's going to probably take the most time is the correction to surplus of the city police vehicle.
Oh, no.
Really?
So what have we got there? Did we just list the wrong police vehicle? In the last surplus?
Are we going to be forced to sell one that we wanted to keep?
The chief has not been driving a car for the last month. So we had the police unit number right, but the wrong car was.
Oh, wow. We really need to change. Mayor Bender's car.
Okay, that is it for the regular meeting. Any correspondence? Any city attorney's report?
Just an update on the liquor store lottery. So as I reported last week, I think I reported that the court had granted our motion, so we did file our application for appeal, and as anticipated, they filed their response to our appeal. And so we now wait
Back and forth.
we'll wait for the Court of Appeals to say whether they're going to accept our appeal.
Slowest game of ping pong ever.
Update of ongoing projects. Mr. Pepper.
Thank you. I know we have a couple more items to get to, so I'll be brief on this report, but just the town center, so Cricket Can has submitted their building permits to Gwinnett County and to the city, so we'll be reviewing those and approving those, and once those are approved, I believe that we'll be able to just find a contractor and get started on the interior build of their space. The restaurant turnover there for Hacienda and Cricket and Parkside will be happening hopefully this week. They have not submitted any plans yet for interior build out of them, so it is likely that they will not be ready by Thanksgiving. Christmas will probably be for the first quarter.
Kirk and his wife came out to the movie on the Grove Friday night, and so I chatted with him for a little bit. He said all the rain that happened in July set them back in getting all the exterior paving and concrete work done, so I was running a little behind schedule.
We've had our first third Thursday and first fourth Friday at the Grove for August, and both events went well, and we'll continue to kind of market those for the remainder of the year and get folks out. We watched.
Yeah, I saw a post on Facebook today. Somebody was asking, are those events, the movies and the entertainer, is that, they want to know if that's paid out of city, out of their tax money?
So where we're working
How's
is
it being done?
the revenue we've received from rent from folks that we
Oh, okay.
to putting that back into the.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Because there's an association that's being formed or been formed of the property owners in the Grove. So the city is part of that because we own the parking deck, we own the market building, and we own the improvements of the green.
And Drive.
Well, the county owns that building.
Well,
So the county's a member. And then the developer's a member because they own the apartments, the other two commercial and residential buildings, and the two restaurants. So all of those together combine to cover the operating expenses, maintaining the bathrooms, maintaining the grading, all of that stuff, that common area stuff.
That Makes sense. I didn't know how to answer it exactly.
I did see that post because I was looking for something on the Citizens Police Academy on Facebook and saw that. And the question was on the town green, which is out front. And that
Oh, was it the town green?
Well, that's what they specified. I don't know if that's what they meant, but that's what they said. So that's what I responded to. All the events that happen out there, of course, are through
Yeah, I noticed
tourism and trade.
somebody responded and said they're paid by Snellville Tourism and Trade, but I thought the question was about the tourism. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Okay.
So, sponsoring a cornhole league down there at the Grove, trying to get some more activation in that area. So, we've got the requisite amount of teams to hold the league, so hopefully that will go well. We'll monitor that and see if it's something that we want to continue to do. If you had told me that cornhole would be on ESPN, I used to believe you, but it's kind of
4 years it'll be Olympic sport.
It might be. Debut in LA, who knows? Sidewalk improvements, not much to talk about there. The pole relocation had begun, but now it seems to stop. So we are trying to find out what's going on with that. Skipping down, I'll just go right to the park here. So GMC is continuing to work on those design documents and things that we've talked about. We've got some early renderings that I'll share with you folks at a later date and get your input on those. We have not heard any funding decisions yet, so CDBG or any other kind of federal dollars that we've asked for that project, but we'll keep you in the loop on that. North of Wisteria, so the sewer connection plans are underway right now. Those drawings will attend to the ITB, which we're working on now to get out. Hopefully in the next several weeks, we'll put it out for bid. We've got several folks that we still need to get agreements from. We've got agreed in principle on right-of-way members and things that we've got the contracts on. So, our goal is to have all that wrapped up by the end of this year and then start work next year on that project. So we'll keep you posted on that. Tanglewood, we put the signage in, the striping is in, there's just some minor punch list items to work through, but that project is 98% there. So now it's just the work of monitoring it and making sure that it's working, and if it's something that we want to continue on in other parts of the city, we can discuss that after we have some good data on the impact of those. That's my report.
Any questions? All right, then we have item B, discussion about code enforcement issues on Club Drive in Snellville. Member Schultz.
Okay, I'm hoping y'all saw the photo that I sent with the email, and I asked to put this on the agenda. I was not aware that the rear of that one property in particular is in such sorry shape. I mean, the picture was taken by, there was a gentleman going through the neighborhood looking for that person that had been lost recently. And so he was looking in some backyards and behind houses, and he took the photo and showed it to someone else. And that big house by the water tower, I mean, the back, a lot of the windows are busted out, doors and windows are boarded up, and all three of those houses are vacant. Johnny can probably provide some more information on it. I just was alarmed when I saw what the back of that one house looked like. I mean, it was terrible. Can you
Oh, yes.
clue us in?
The house has been that way for years.
Yeah, I know, a long time.
Nobody knows it because of private property at the gate. So the individual went through, closed gate on the private property to take this picture. Looking for a person, don't excuse that. The property owner has done everything we've asked in the past, so they keep the fronts. The other two houses are fine anyway, but all of it stays cut, trimmed, where it doesn't look, where it looks good from the road. The one particular one, Bob, that she's talking about with the picture, the only thing to do with that is demo. If that's what the city wants me to push. However, I don't know what kind of push we're gonna get with trespassing either.
I know some of the neighbors were saying when they're at the pool, they've seen, I don't know if they're homeless or what, going in and out of the back of that house.
Well, the house, it's boarded up on the lower level all the way around. So all they can do is climb on the second level if they want to get in. The side picture you see where there's no boards, that's a garage. You can't enter the house from there. I've been all through it. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But all three of them are not inhabitable. The one with the picture's the worst one. It did have some people staying in it that just destroyed it. And the other two, obviously the interiors are shot, but the outside still looks good all the way around.
It's just kind of a disgrace, you know, that we,
The reason they've been working with us is with the hope that the properties are going to sell and be all demoed and redeveloped. That's been their hopes. Like I said, they've done everything we've asked them to do, but you know me, I'll push it hard as you want.
So I guess it's up to council. I mean, if they're maintaining the exterior, which is what our code enforcement normally looks for, whether we want to try to do a nuisance action.
they're maintaining the front,
Donnie, is it fenced all the way around?
It's
Okay.
the one
Yeah,
house is.
that house, the one with the.
It's fenced all the way around. The property also has a driveway that comes over to the Prime America area, which is also the same owner. That's also fenced in and closed. The homeless guy that was going in and out of there is no longer in the city. And that's when we got everything boarded up. Even had gates put up Prime America location so they can't.
Well, I mean, if it has a secure fence around it, and it's being maintained visually, I would say
From the
that,
front anyway.
yeah, that we really don't have reason to go in and push for anything more at this point.
Yeah, but everything, I was just alarmed when I saw the photo.
Well, if anybody's going in there, if they're trespassing,
That's the reason I haven't pushed for demolition is because it's not in the public view. You have to go on the property and to the back to see. The other two are fine all the way around.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it. What that's
Not always.
Not for that house, I don't think.
I was in it when it was habitable.
Talking real estate.
Yeah, no. I got enough dogs biting on my rear end.
We have item C, discussion about the sign ordinance under B, but who's talking about this one?
So, how do you want me to segue into that? Want to just throw it right out there? Or
Yes.
signage types in the town center?
Yes. Let's-
So, recently, there was a sign that was erected, AKA, or painted onto the side of the building without a permit. And that is a Snellville Pharmacy. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's on that side wall. And obviously, painted signs aren't an allowable sign type in the city. We've been kind of very stringent on how we sign, how we do it in certain areas. But if that's something that you want to see more of in the town center, we can amend the code, but it's just something we need to do the right way through sign type restrictions, not size, or sign type and size, and then we have to apply it to a whole district the same way, so we need to do it within the town center. And some of I like a lot of painted stuff. The problem is down the road is the maintenance of them.
Anybody have a picture of it? for those of us who haven't.
You just catch it on the way out, it's like right there. But it's basically the whole side of this building.
So it's kind of like an old Coca-Cola sign.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And you see a lot more in the downtowns, just something we don't allow now.
So it came up to me last week sometime, we were meeting and it came up that this was a violation of the sign ordinance, and I was like, but I really like what you did. I mean, honestly, I think it looks great, but it is not under our current code. So it's something where we need to talk about that, because we're talking about how cool it would be to have murals in the city, but murals aren't necessarily signage,
Totally
an
different.
advertisement, so you gotta look at those a little bit differently. But then again, I just go back to, I like what they did. So we just need to talk about it as a policy decision, because right now, they've done something that's a violation of our codes. So we need to talk about whether we want to update those codes for the town center overlay. Probably needs to be some type of submittal and approval process, just like any other sign.
Oh, definitely, we need to regulate it heavily. Some of
Yeah.
the things you got working there is that's 100% of the side elevation, so if you don't limit, if you were to set it like that, the whole town center. You just gotta be careful that it's done strategically and legally too, so we don't get run up on ourselves.
So can we have a sign category of historic/artistic signs and have that where it has to come either before the Board of Appeals or Mayor and Council for approval for the permit for that sign?
Not
For what the content is. So that's
No,
the-
right, it's
So that's-
visual. It's
Right,
visual.
but so you guys have to be very, very careful.
So you're saying we could have naked ladies?
I'm saying that somebody will
Yes.
get creative.
How
So
can you tell?
you can, we can control the size of the sign, where's the sign, how's it lit, those things, but we cannot control the message on the sign. And so, I would suggest that we look at some of the other cities that have done that. I'm thinking that maybe there is a situation where we have an arts board, and then it's limited to to an art installation. What's that?
I got called out.
Well, so something along those lines, but,
Art and sign is totally different, that's a sign.
right, and I get that. So I'm just saying, but if the idea is we're wanting to get something like that kind of feel,
Well, we could,
that's one thing we could do, but we just have to be very careful because it really can.
Look at it.
Giant, yeah.
Yeah,
You can pass it around.
It could be better.
yeah, I've seen it.
probably not so.
I'm also an airbrush artist. I have painted some murals that y'all would not want to see. Really think about it.
Do you do airbrush t-shirts?
Never anything.
Spray it
Renaissance.
No, I don't think it's spray.
I love seeing the old, like, Coca-Cola murals and, older downtown areas.
See, like Lawrenceville has one with a body shop that has an old classic Corvette and all of it, and it's painted like old school. It was good,
Yeah, that's cool.
but when it comes to art, it's a wide open market.
Yeah.
I mean, can we condition it to the logo of the establishment?
No contact.
We can't do.
No, it's gonna be under a sign, it's it falls under a sign ordinance. We cannot talk about.
Size and height, it would be limited to painted signs to certain size, and that would be it.
Can we say that anything that is painted directly on a building is classified as a mural, and murals have to be approved by our art commission or Board of Appeals?
Well, we could, but then it's not a sign.
Well, right.
Sign, right?
Well,
Right, well, I mean, that's a
art
sign.
is in the eye of the beholder, so maybe
Art.
sometimes art is a sign, like old Coca-Cola signs.
I guarantee you whoever developed that
Most art
logo calls
is a
himself an artist.
subliminal sign anyways, most of the time.
Yeah.
But if it's on the side of a building.
I'm
it
just
says
looking for
Snellville,
ways to,
We can break it down and give you some options. I mean, it's gotta be very,
I do not want to be on that committee.
and I don't think committee's the right place for those. Murals, yes, signs,
Right.
like John done.
But like Tom said, it's painted directly onto the building.
Right,
So
so
you
we,
qualify as a mural, that's paint, that's not.
I mean,
an acrylic sign.
it could be a painted sign. So it's just a sign type, material type. And like, it can be a wood sign, it can be a plastic sign, it can be a channel letter sign, it can be a roof sign, it can be.
I'm just trying to find a way to classify it so it has its own category. Right?
Yeah, well, we'll work, we'll pick through it. With Chuck's help.
So I would say that we need to,
We just needed to, I wanted to
Bring it
get
up.
y'all's pulse on whether this was something that you know, a rabbit hole we want to go down.
to protect ourselves.
I can send you some pictures from some of the older buildings in downtown Winder
Yeah.
that used to have murals that were faded out, those like bread companies or whatever. They have had them redone.
Right.
They're painted directly on the brick. But it'll give you an idea of,
That'd be great.
But to protect
I'll be down there
ourselves, we
tomorrow.
probably need to have citations issued against this property owner.
Yeah.
And
And then we can figure out.
so if someone else were to come along, we're not playing favorites. And
It does look great, that way.
We knew the call.
Okay, so that is all we have on our agenda. I did want to give a thank you to Public Works, David. I got a hearty thank you for the new speed limit signs on South Crestwood.
I was supposed to point out the ones on Mountain View
Yeah,
are
I was too.
looking pretty shabby.
Yeah. It was a moment of praise.
Another opportunity to be good. Somebody predicted rain.
It's like you clean your house all day for your mom to visit, and she still finds that one spot you missed.
He can't shine if we don't let him know where the issues are.
meeting's not adjourned yet.
I will take a motion to adjourn. There's a motion, is there a second? A second, all in favor? 6 in favor, we're done.